Rescue Heroes was one of those weird things that came out of the late 1990s. The whole premise of it is that you have different types of jobs that, well, you know, rescue people. Fire, police, construction worker. Oh no. And with this, numerous different properties were made from this. Fisher-Price made a whole toy series before the cartoon, and even a whole bunch of books came out. But one thing is known for certain: if something has a lot of popularity, there is a very huge demand for a video game on it. And, like that, a whole bunch of video games were made out of this property, and we're going to be talking about 3 today. I know, I'm excited. I was enthralled with this. And so is this kid. You see? He's happy. A little bit of enthusiasm there, pal? No? Okay. The first game we're going to be talking about is Rescue Heroes Fire Frenzy for the Game Boy Color. The game opens up with a very catchy tune until Mr. Firefighter, or Billy Blazes as he's known in the cartoon, yells, "Liberty Mountain is on fire!" And then the game begins. The main game, if you can even call that, is 6 mini-games, just 2 of which are completely unique, while the other 4 are just memory games and evacuation games combined. And even before you even start the mini-games, you have to do some weird dress-up game where you have to match the clothes to the type of person you're playing as. And each character represents their own different mini-game. The firefighter represents a card-matching game. The police officer is an evacuation game where you must destroy trees and rocks in order to get to civilians coming out of houses. The construction worker is some weird connect the dots kind of thing, where you have to make it from one side of the map to the other. The pilot, ironically named Aerial Flyer, flies from the left to the right constantly while you're trying to shoot down small fires that can then grow into bigger fires. This is extremely hard since the fact that you can't even control the helicopter, and you can only shoot 2 pellets of water at a time. Why can't this be any harder for you to do? Because your aim and your timing has to be completely spot on if you want to ever complete this minigame. Upon completing all 6 minigames, you're then told, "Wow, you've saved the day for everyone! Great work!" Yeah, like that's ever gonna happen. And then you're able to use the Nintendo Game Boy printer in order to print a little certificate that you can be able to then place on a wall, or I do not have one of those, and I do not wish to print any of that mess. Thank you very much. Going up a couple generations, we have for the Game Boy Advance to Billy Blazes. The game's pretty cool, in my opinion, and is honestly my favorite Rescue Heroes games out of the 3 that we're reviewing. Mainly because it has a very awesome soundtrack, very nice sprites, and completely amazing backgrounds. The game starts off with Billy Blazes running to a control room, only to find out that a city and the forest surrounding it, as well as any farmland that is also around the area, has caught fire due to a thunderstorm. It is then your job to play as Billy Blazes and save the entire city from major doom. The game, as simple as it may sound, is actually pretty complex. The main fire hose is used to put out fires and to stop obstacles, such as burning wheels and tires. Billy Blazes' weapons actually can then be upgraded, such as a fire axe that can be able to destroy crates, a grappling hook that can be able to move you some distance, and as well as a couple other things, such as a upgraded fire axe that allows you to cut through freaking stone. Upon completing each level, you're then given a confusing password that I have no idea why the game developers even chose this, and a small minigame where you would control a RV or something to where you can be able to collect tokens to gain extra nozzles, which are then used to upgrade your fire hose in order to shoot longer across many gaps and as well as destroy items quicker. In reality, I think this is an awesome children's game for the Game Boy Advanced. I mean, it's obscure, yes, but it's also fairly balanced, and the only times that you would probably ever die is due to something crazy like a small piece of fire then hitting another generator, then causing a chain reaction in order to kill you instantly. One thing that I do not agree with whatsoever is some of the things that are attacking you. Sure, there's a cart that's heading straight after you that's on fire. That makes a little bit of sense. But on the city level, there's this thing. It's a sewer on fire shooting a pillar of fire at you. How does that make any sense? And plus, that kind of reminds me of this scene from Rescue Heroes, the actual TV show.
Daddy, spray me with the water! I'm gonna get you! I'm gonna get you! No!
freaking terrifying.
It's time for the moment you've been waiting for. Da, 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 da,
Rescue Heroes Molten Menace for the PlayStation 1. Dear God, this is the worst game that I have ever had the displeasure of playing. Not only is there broken gameplay everywhere you look, but there's also horrible cutscenes and literally things that make no sense. So, I guess we're gonna have to review this. And on a smaller note, this game's the reason why I had to make this list in the first place. Like any other game, we start off with a little FMV that explains the story, and for all I can see, there is no story. All you have to do is rescue citizens like any other game. I mean, I couldn't grasp any story from it other than, oh, city's on fire, you gotta stop it, because there's a volcano and stuff. I mean, sure, it makes it look like it's, well, scary, but the visuals alone only show that, not the threat itself. I mean, look at these guys. They look like people made out of butter and plastic. And I get what they're trying to go for. They're trying to make all the video game characters look like the figurines themselves. Which is smart. But, on the other hand, you just leave up with things like this. Why couldn't they just get the cartoon artists to make their own FMV intro? I know for a fact it would be a lot better than this. Alright, you know what? FMV aside, you know what? Let's go ahead and just get to the gameplay. Alright, so I'm a specialist, not a rookie, okay? So let's do this. Alright, who am I gonna pick first?
Who's going to be the first out of the gate? Okay, aerial flyer.
It's not letting me pick.
Time to show us what you're made of.
Aerial flyer on.
Are you serious? I have to choose what the game tells me to choose? And it's just going into an order. Okay, fine by me. Alright, so, just a little bit of a side note. This game likes to use puns, such as the first character we're going to be playing, Aerial Flyer, which is a air rescue mission. Alright, gives me a thumbs up, cool. Now let's go ahead and get into the gameplay.
Are you ready?
Roger Houston speaking. We need to do a flight check on Ariel's jet.
You could have just told me, hey, we need to do some checks on your gear, but I couldn't hear it. Could you guys hear it? This is the actual game volume. Oh well. Move forward. What? Yeah, that was probably nothing. Get backwards. Huh. Is it seriously just gonna go check every time that I do something?
Check.
Scoop up water.
Alright then. Tutorial aside, you're able to scoop up water and then dump it on fires, in which I couldn't even use because of the fact that this game is so freaking easy that you don't even have to put out any of the fires. You can just let the city burn to the ground, and all you'd have to do is just collect the citizens. And yes, I know some of you guys may be wondering, yes, this is the same aerial flyer from the Game Boy Color game, except she's not in a helicopter and you actually can be able to control her easily, if you can even call her that. You can bump into telephone wires, buildings. I mean, seriously, if you can bump into buildings, something's wrong with your game. I mean, most jets can just fly over buildings. Then you can be able to do like a hover mechanic where you can just hover over the citizens and lower a rope down or whatever. Not just pull out a giant buoy and pull them up. Alright, so I collected almost all the citizens, getting this last one, and... Is that a tiger? Is that a legitimate tiger? Okay, that just makes total sense. You know what, we shouldn't bother it. Alright, what next?
Life need help. Repeat.
in danger. We have some animals that can't swim to safety because of some fires.
Huh. So, you can already see the flaws of this game. What are the chances of a volcanic eruption? This is like the middle of the United States here, folks. So there's no volcanic activity in that area to begin with, nor is there any mountains. So this makes it very unlikely. And on top of that, what are the chances of a boulder hurling towards a zoo of all places, hitting something in order to let all the animals free and make them run amok across the entire map of this city? What were these game designers thinking? Oh, well, I think we should collect animals in a zoo, but we're not doing that. We have to incorporate that into the game somehow. I don't know, put a giraffe on the side of a volcano? I don't know. The second hero is Rocky Canyon. Trademark. That's another thing. At the beginning of every last one of these, they show their name, and they have a trademark symbol right next to them. I know you're trying to protect your intellectual property there, guys, but seriously? Why would you have a trademark in a children's game? I know Lego, of all people, has the restricted sign within their logo, but that's understandable. You can barely see the dang thing. Meanwhile, you have Rescue Heroes in bold text saying Rocky Canyon trademark. This one's a little bit more believable since you're actually walking around in this one. And you get the grappling hook. Cool. But it isn't as fun because it immediately locks onto the targets that you need to lock onto. Like all the citizens with their bad voice acting.
You're the best. I knew you could do
And
it.
now we gotta find billy goats. Why didn't an aerial flyer just see them and go, oh, well, there's these billy goats that are on the volcano. Let me go ahead and pick them up really quick. Or did she have a full load of all the freaking zoo animals that she made her jet into freaking Noah's Ark of all places? Alright. Whatever the heck these are. Goats? I don't know. Goats aside, we now have to deal with...
Air
Oh
rescue
no.
specialist, your turn.
Air Rescue Specialist. Air Rescue Specialist? His name is Cliffhanger in the cartoon, not Air Rescue Specialist. Did they seriously have to rush this game in order to get this person in there? Oh, well, we haven't figured out what the name is for this character yet. We've already got the design and the toys ready. Just call him Air Rescue Specialist and give him like some southern accent. I legitimately thought this guy's name is Hank Glider due to the stupid puns This is starting to mess me up inside. Alright, it's another flying mission. This one you have to fly in between buildings and... Oh god, am I seriously just doing a barrel roll inside of a pair of buildings trying to collect citizens that are stuck in between these two things?
Head on back to base for debriefing. Okay, coming home.
The next thing is Jake Justice. And you drive around in the police car. Considering that my father's a police officer, I actually kinda enjoyed this part. It's awesome to see a police car jump over a freaking ramp, Dukes of Hazzard style. Anyways, after that, we finally get to play as Billy Blazes. You'd understand that this would possibly be like the hardest section in the game, considering that he had his own game and he's technically the leader of the Rescue Heroes. Nope. You just drive around in a fire truck collecting citizens. That's it. And the only reason why I skipped over Gil Gripper here is because he's like the most mundane thing. Just you go on water and you have to collect freaking orca whales, or whatever the heck they are. Killer whales? I don't know. I didn't pay attention to biology or whatever. But after collecting all the citizens with their bad voice acting, you're then told to collect 5 tigers. Oh! Not only did the zoo get broken into, or destroyed to the fact that all the zoo animals escaped, but 5 tigers. 5 tigers, no less, that belonged to this lady are running amok. How many people died in this incident? Because this is like the most unbelievable thing that I have seen in any game to date.